In this lesson, I'm going to introduce to you what is unit conversion. Let's say, for instance, you heard somebody counting, and they're counting and going 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Would you be able to tell exactly what that person is doing just from that count that you're hearing? And the answer is no, you can't be sure of what they're doing, but you can probably guess what they're doing. You may guess that they're simply playing hide and seek with somebody, or maybe they're counting something, but you don't know what else they're doing. If it is that you heard somebody going 1 apple or 2 apples, you'd be able to understand that what they're doing is they are counting apples. Let's say, for instance, you hear 1 meter, 2 meters. You'd be able to understand that what they're doing is they're counting distances. Now, this is what units would do for you. They will give you an idea of the context and the scale. Notice it is much clearer to you what they are doing when you actually hear the units that come after. Another objective of this lesson is to help you compare units by simply doing unit conversions. When you do a unit conversion, it's usually to convert one unit to another unit that you desire. Say, for example, you have multiple measurements of something in distance. So let's say we have distance that we're measuring, and we have 50 meters, we have 200 centimeters, we have 1 kilometer, and we want to be able to compare these units together since, after all, they all measure distance. We are not going to be able to compare them because they are not in the same unit. What we'll do with unit conversion is we will actually be able to convert between these units so that we don't struggle to figure out which one is more and which one is less. We'll be able to arrive at our own conclusions based on the fact that they all would share a same unit. So why is it that we need to do unit conversions? Unit conversion is necessary for us to compare things. We compare things by what we observe in front of us, or we compare things by what we observe in front of us and what previously happened in our lives. And for us to compare, we need to have the same context and scale for both situations, so we will be able to make a reasonable analysis for ourselves. For example, let's say, for instance, somebody asks you to make a trip to a grocery to buy some things. Let's say, for instance, your house is here, and there's one grocery here, and there's one grocery here. We know that this grocery here is 1 km away. We know that this grocery here is 800 meters away. Let's call this A, let's call this B. The person asks you to walk to grocery B with them. Is it shorter to walk to grocery B or to walk to grocery A? Notice that the units are in different scales. So we have to figure out how these units compare to each other. And this is why unit conversion is important. If it is that I can't compare these two units to each other, I may end up making the wrong decision of going to the further grocery. And I'm leaving it up to you now to try and figure out which grocery is further away, grocery A or grocery B. Whichever one it is, we'll figure out how to do it in this lesson.